Hello friends! The first gasoline units were represented by the old 4-cylinder aspirated 1.4 16V and 1.68V and more modern engines with direct fuel injection 2.0 FSI and 2.0 TFSI. The palette also included a new engine of the EA888 series 1.8 TSI. Later, a 1.2 TSI and 1.4 TSI were added. The smallest 1.4s and 1.6s run surprisingly well thanks to the perfectly matched gear ratios. The 1.6 liter is more powerful but consumes more fuel. The 1.8 TFSI has excellent dynamics, acceptable fuel consumption, but things are not very good with reliability. The representative of the EA888 series was pestered by the low service life of the timing chain drive and high oil consumption due to the unsuccessful design of the piston rings. The 2.0 TFSI EA888 series, introduced in 2009, had the same problems as the 1.8 TFSI. Previously, a more durable turbo engine of the EA113 series was used. The presence of diesel units can be divided into two milestones, PD and CR. In addition to the reliable and durable 1.9 TDI, until about 2010, a more modern 2.0 TDI PD with unit injectors was offered. It had three variations. The simplest BMM was an evolution of the 1.9 TDI. Its single OHC camshaft head had 8 valves. The 140 horsepower engine has always been equipped with a particulate filter, which was one of the weak points of this unit. Another problem is valve lifter wear. A 16-valve BKD with 2 DOHC camshafts also developed 140 horsepower. It met the Euro 4 emission standard and dispensed with a diesel particulate filter. Unfortunately, the head of the block of this engine could crack. The most powerful among the 2-liter diesel engines was the 16-valve BMN at 170 horsepower. The design is similar to BKD, but the engine has always been equipped with a diesel particulate filter and more powerful Siemens piezoelectric injectors. However, the durability of the injectors turned out to be insufficient. In addition, the original ones are very expensive. In terms of reliability, the BMN is unlike the VW Passat or the Exeo. The Altea has never had a 2.0-liter turbo diesel variant with a balanced shaft unit. Therefore, there is no problem of wear on the oil pump drive shaft, which ultimately leads to death. In 2009, the engine range was replenished with 4-cylinder turbo diesels with a common rail injection system, 1.6 TDI and 2.0 TDI. The 2-liter unit again did without a block of balancing shafts. The common problems of the recruits include the EGR exhaust gas recirculation system. Until the end of October 2011, a round cooler was used, which eventually lost its tightness, and coolant leaks occurred. Later versions received a square radiator, which proved to be more reliable. The second problem with EGR is electronics. The damper that closes the flow of exhaust gases to the intake is controlled by a servo motor through a so-called ratchet mechanism. Unfortunately, they are all made of plastic and eventually fail. The water pump can also be a source of coolant leakage. Therefore, it should be changed along with the timing belt. It is noteworthy that Seat, Volkswagen, set an unreasonably long belt renewal interval, 180,000 kilometers for a 1.6 TD and 210,000 kilometers for a 2.0 TDI. It is better to reduce the belt replacement period by at least half. The factory pump usually did not go so much. The tensioner of the drive belt of mounted units could also fail. This usually happened after 150,000 kilometers. As a result, there was a risk of the belt getting under the plastic cover of the timing mechanism, which could lead to engine damage. Petrol 1.6 and 1.4 were combined with a 5-speed manual transmission. The 2.0 FSI was equipped with a 6-speed manual or an alternative 6-band automatic transmission. The 1.8 TSI and 2.0 TFSI were paired with a 6-speed manual transmission and the 2.0 TFSI optionally with a 6-speed DSG robot. The 1.9 TDI was aggregated with a 5-speed manual transmission and the 2.0 TDI with a 6-speed one. The 16-valve 2.0 TDI could be combined with a 6-speed DSG. At high mileage, noise from a 6-speed manual transmission may appear. The reason is the wear of the shaft bearings. In order to comply with the MSV classification, the Altea was endowed with a solid chassis. All modifications have a rear axle with 4 levers for each wheel. Handling, in comparison with the classic MPV, turned out to be above average. Suspension settings successfully balance between softness and sporty stiffness, and the reactions to steering commands are fast. There are rumors about the average suspension lifespan. Rather, it all depends on the engine used. Massive TDIs will certainly have a more negative impact on running gear life than a lightweight 2-liter aluminum FSI or a base 16-valve 1.4. The weak link on the front axle is the rear arm support. The lever has a pin that is inserted into the silent block. The silent block is part of an aluminum bracket bolted to the subframe. When the rubber mount is worn, the machine has difficulty moving in a straight line in a rut. In addition, controllability deteriorates. Since March of 2009, the aluminum bracket has been replaced with an iron one, but the problem of wear on the rear silent block remains. Noise in the steering and increased effort on the steering wheel can be caused by a failure of the power steering control unit or steering wheel sensor. And due to a faulty pressure sensor in the ABS ESP hydraulic unit, the ESP ABS lamp lights up. The Altea's tall body required the use of a very large windshield to ensure good aerodynamics. To keep the road visible when it rains, Seat has applied an innovative windshield wiper concept. These are not the classic butterfly wings known from French cars. At a cursory glance at the windshield, it seems that the wipers are missing, but upon closer examination, it is clear that they are hidden behind the plastic lining of the front pillars. If you activate the wiper, the brushes do not fully return to their original position. When it rains, the windshield wipers work normally. Things get worse when it snows, as if the Spaniards did not test the car at all in winter. Wet snow is swept to the racks where it remains, accumulating more and more. With age, the windshield wiper mechanism sours. The leashes begin to move more and more slowly until one day they do not jam at all. Many mechanisms are disassembled, cleaned, and lubricated. It helps, but usually not for long. The mechanism is supplied by the manufacturer as a separate item, i.e. without a stepper motor. Sometimes, after starting the engine, extraneous sounds are heard from the front panel. Their source is the servo motors of the air conditioning system. In cars with climate control, there are 6 of them. The defect is usually only acoustic. If you know of other model malfunctions, be sure to write about it.